Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. All right. So, as we all head off to church or grocery shopping or whatever our plans are for today, just pay attention to what's going on in the world. For those of you that have watched the channel long enough, you pretty much know what my personal foreign policy position is. Okay. I am even being a veteran, okay, I am absolutely against the U.S. being involved in these endless wars all over the world in the bullshit reason of spreading democracy, okay? Because it ain't true, all right? It's just to make the military-industrial complex and inevitably the politicians money. We need to stay out of all this crap, okay? And if you've watched me enough, like I said, you know my position. I basically believe in isolationism for the United States. I've said many times we are the only self-sufficient nation on the face of the earth. Okay, we can feed ourselves, we can fuel ourselves, we can clothe ourselves. We have the wood to build houses. We have the material to build whatever we need. And I know there's always somebody who goes, "Oh, but you need rare earth metals for this or whatever." Get to build it the way we build things now. Yes. Okay. I use refrigerators as an example all the time. It used to be that that refrigerators needed some rare earth metal or whatever that you can only find in Russia. Cold War happened, and we figured out how to make refrigerators work without those metals. Okay. Whatever you want to say about cheap labor. Oh, we need Chinese cheap labor. Well, Chinese cheap labor also gets us Chinese junk that you buy at Walmart that lasts 91 days till the warranty's over, and that's that. Okay, and then you got to replace it. Now, we go back to 45's presidency, and it was hilarious because remember everybody screaming, yelling, Trump saying, we need to get out of NATO. What the hell are we doing defending Europe, paying our money, and they can't even defend themselves? I totally agree. Germany, what was it, a few months ago, came back and said they haven't had enough ammunition to defend the country for one day. Okay, there's effective planning. Look at Ukraine, not even a member of NATO. Okay, they got invaded in 2014, and in 7 years, basically did nothing to strengthen their defenses. So when 2020, or take it back 8 years, in 2022, when they got invaded again, we don't have any equipment. The hell you been doing for 8 years? Okay. But like Trump said, get out of NATO, which I totally agree with. But the other thing that's silly about this is, granted, my position is not the U.S. position. Who is in NATO? And the problems that are being caused by NATO. Let me ask you this. We've all heard the saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Well, what do you call the friend of my enemy? Probably my enemy. Okay. Now, the biggest question I've always had about NATO, what the hell is Turkey doing in NATO? Okay. Period. Oh, it's a buffer between us and Russia. Okay, guys, get over it. The Soviet Union fell 30 years ago. Okay. Russia is not the enemy that these neocons in Washington who can't get their head out of the 1970s believe them to be. Ain't no fan of Putin. Let me tell you that right now. Okay. But I will remind everybody that Putin wanted to join NATO and be an ally of the United States during the Clinton administration, and good old Billy Boy ignored him. So what did that do? That pushed Russia into lining up with the Chinese. Oh, that decision's worked out so well for us, huh? But let's go back to Turkey here. All right, with everything going on in Israel right now. Yesterday, Erdogan came out and threatened to go to war against Israel in support of Hamas, okay? Threatened to declare war on Israel. He spoke at a crowd of hundreds of thousands of people yesterday. Now, gotta remember, Turkey is about 50% Muslim and 50% Christian. Erdogan was giving a speech in Istanbul, and you can take a look at this picture. This will give you an idea of the crowd size. All that red are the people rallying for Palestine. Okay? So now I give you this question. Turkey's part of NATO, and Article 5 says if any country goes to war, the rest of NATO will help. Okay? Israel is an ally of the United States, obviously not part of NATO. So what happens if Erdogan declares war on Israel in support of Hamas? Is the U.S. all of a sudden go, oh, because of Article 5, we've got to support what Erdogan wants, and therefore we're changing sides and we're going to fight for the terrorists against the Israelis? Interesting thought, huh? Okay. Erdogan came out and accused Israel of war crimes. I want to remind everybody, none of this stuff is going on in Israel if Hamas didn't send some 5,000 rockets into Israel 3 weeks ago. Okay? They would be living their walking on eggshells peace that they have that, was supposed to be the rule of thumb when Israel said, here, you guys can have Gaza, self-rule, do whatever in 2007, as long as you maintain the peace. Now, Hamas decided, you know what? We want the land. We're not going to have the peace. Okay. You have the UN, 120 nations in the UN, calling for peace. I'm all for peace. Don't get me wrong. Okay, get this over with. You know, enough innocent people have died on both sides, no question. But the peace doesn't need to be you go back to your corner, you go back to your corner, and in 6 months we'll come out for round 2. The peace needs to be you're done, Hamas, end the story. And that's it. And I don't know another way around this because oh yeah, we'll be peaceful. You can't trust them as far as you can piss in a tornado. Okay. The only way to get rid of Hamas is exactly what I think Israel's trying to do, is just eliminate that idealism from the face of the earth. And if that means putting them 6 feet under, good. Okay. That's the way it needs to be. When Erdogan comes out, this was the one that really chapped my ass. Okay. When he compared what's going on in Gaza to the Holocaust. Now, you guys know I lost family members in the Holocaust. Obviously, I wasn't around. Okay. But yes, I have family members that were put in concentration camps and eliminated. We'll use it that way. I can't tell you what the method used was. Erdogan's quote, in the past, they were massacring Jewish people in the gas chambers, and they were indeed wiping out whole regions with bombs. A similar mentality is being shown in Gaza today. We will tell the whole world that Israel is a war criminal. We're making preparations for this. We will declare Israel a war criminal. From now on, we will continue on our path with the motto that we may suddenly knock on your door one night. This is a NATO ally. This is a member of NATO. I wouldn't necessarily call Turkey an ally. Okay, I don't know which president was the one that voted to allow Turkey in, but It's not like we haven't had idiot presidents here basically for the last 40 years, 35 at least, okay, since we've had a decent president. Remember, Turkey was the country that was doing their damnedest to keep Sweden from joining the alliance, because personally, the Swedes have a little bit more in common with Europe than Turkey does. But, hey, wouldn't surprise me if Erdogan's going, hey, you know what? We need to let Iraq in, or Iran in, or pick one, okay? This is where you worry about this getting escalated into World War III that everybody talks about over and over and over again. Could this be a World War III event? Israel, Hamas. Countries are starting to pick their sides. North Korea's picked their side. China's picked their side. Turkey, a NATO ally, has picked their side. And it ain't the same side that we're on. Now, what's Joe going to do? Because there's no love lost between the Democrats and Israel. Answer me this. What would your thoughts be if all of a sudden the United States came out and said, we're going to war against Israel? It's a stretch of a hypothetical. But think about it. Joe wants a war. Joe certainly doesn't like Netanyahu. The Democrats as a whole are anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian. Joe will fall back and say, well, gee, you know what? We've got to follow what's in Article 5 of the NATO treaty. And imagine one day you open up the news, turn on a YouTube channel, or whatever, and find out, oh, we're sending money to the Palestinians. Oh, wait. We're already doing that. Well,